Hey guys, so a few weeks ago, my brother gave me this Gameboy Pocket. So I think it's about 12 years old. Maybe longer than that, but since he knows that I've been doing a lot of Game Boy refurbishing and things like that, so he passed it to me, and basically I can refurbish it the way I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the shell. I have a new IPS. No, I have a TFT screen on the way here. It's almost here, but the shell is here already. Yeah, so I'm gonna get started with this. I'm gonna show you guys how I do refurbishing for Game Boys, and hopefully I can share a bit of insight on how I do it. So hope you guys enjoy this video. This is the first time I'm doing this. First time I'm talking in front of the camera. Yeah, so a lot of people have been asking me, how do I find the parts for this, or how do I even find the Game Boys to work on. So it's usually from friends who find back their old Game Boys, or the stuff that I find on eBay from Japan. So they sell it for parts. Some of it they don't know whether it's working or not, so it's like a lottery. So it depends really how much you pay for it, and what you get at the end of the day. My computer suddenly just turned on by itself. We'll get started on this. See you. Okay guys, this is the condition of the Game Boy Pocket that we are gonna work with. It's got a bad screen burn right in the middle of the screen. This is usually caused by the polarizer that's on the LCD. So over the years, this will deteriorate, and it will give you this kind of burn. So okay, first things first, what you need to open it up, you'll need a tri-wing screwdriver. So this one has got a Y-shaped bit to it. So this opens up the proprietary screws by Nintendo. So I think it's the same for all Game Boys, regardless of which year it came out. So this is the most important tool that you need. Next one is a Phillips, a small Phillips. I think this is number 1 or something, the smallest Phillips that you can get, but not too small. So like something like this will be too small. Yeah, this is for just prying and trying to get stuff out, like opening latches and stuff like that. And then good pair of tweezers, yeah, and maybe a spudger just to work certain things out. If you don't have this, it's fine. You can use like a very fine flathead screwdriver, but since this is plastic, it won't damage anything much. Yeah, so let's open it up. Okay, so there are 2 screws inside the battery bay. These need to be removed also, and the battery contacts inside actually look quite good, so I don't really have to worry about that too much. So let's go. This last one is a bit stubborn. Okay, it's up. So 6 screws, and then you can separate the shell slowly. Okay, so doesn't look like there's too much corrosion. In fact, I think there's no corrosion. It's just a bit dusty with like little, yeah, balls of dust like that. So we'll remove the RF shield from, this is using, okay, so over here it's using the really tiny screws, the Phillips screws, so it's not as big as the ones that are on the board here. So the ones on the board are a bit bigger, so that's why I've got the other size screwdriver for that. So these ones are quite small, so that's the one that I will need to use, the jewelry type screwdriver. So you need to remove this first before you clean the shell, but in this case I'm not using the shell. I'm not reusing it because it's faded already, so I will save this RF shield for the new case. Okay, so set that aside. Okay, I might try to save this sticker here because that's the original one. I don't know if this will come off easily, but yeah, I'll do that later. Okay, so now for the board. So what you need to do is, there's a lot of dust inside here. I need to remove this first. Okay. Okay, so there are latches here. So this just goes upward, and then another one here, and then the ribbon just basically just pulls out. So I'm gonna try to pull this up and away. Okay, so this ball of fluff. Okay, so once that is out, I'll remove the screws from the board. There's 1, 2, 3 screws. Okay, so the board screws are a bit shorter than the shell screws, as you can see. The one on the left is the board. For the board, it's Phillips. Oh shit, magnetic. Okay, and then these ones, the tri-wing ones, are for the shell. Okay, so now you can remove the board. Okay, so looks quite good. I tested it out before this. It works. It turns on. I think you can see from my Facebook post. The only thing is the burn on the screen. So yeah, I'll show the installation of the screen a bit later on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm gonna clean the entire board, and I'm gonna save the membranes. Oh, look at that.
Okay, and then the original ones are still just as good, so they don't really deteriorate because they are like silicone. And then I think only the start select buttons, they might degrade over time because uh, they've got this area inside here that usually just separates, and yeah, it just cuts off after a while. So these are still fine, so I'll reuse these. And then you've got the buttons. Okay, so I won't remove this just yet. So yeah, I'm gonna show the cleaning of the membranes and the buttons and all this first.
Okay, so just for now, I'll just put everything inside here. I will be using just warm water and soap, and maybe just an old toothbrush just to clean everything. Yeah, so I'll show you how it's done later.
Okay, so now we're gonna clean these parts here. So these are very dirty. Just clean them with warm water and some soap. Okay, just let it soak for a while, and then we can start scrubbing it with a toothbrush. Old toothbrush, not the one that you're currently using, of course. I might not use back the buttons, but I'm just gonna clean it and keep it for spares. So the buttons are not that crazy dirty, so yeah, so once you're done, you just rinse everything off, and they're good to go already.
So in the shell here, there are two contacts that are just to connect the batteries, so that you get your 3 volts total. And yeah, both of them run back into the circuit here, the board here. So these are quite clean, but usually what I do is I remove these and I soak them in white vinegar. So white vinegar gets rid of battery corrosion very easily. And maybe the ones that are on the board itself, I use a bit of the white vinegar and I will just brush these contacts. And okay, let's do that. Alright, so now I'll show you how to clean the board. So I don't know if you can see this, but there's a lot of flux residue. So that's like something that they add to the circuit boards just to make solder flow easily, and it's also to keep the area clean of any impurities in the solder joint. So over the years, if they didn't clean this off, it'll turn more and more yellow. So that's what we're gonna get rid of now, because over time, once it has deteriorated, it can affect some contacts. But yeah, it's just good to clean off. So like for this one, the button contacts here, yeah, these will be rubbed down or scrubbed down with just some cotton buds and some alcohol, IPA. So this is isopropyl alcohol, aka rubbing alcohol from Watson's or yeah, your local shop. So yeah, I'll start with the brushing of all this flux residue from the board first. Don't be afraid to give it a really good scrub down, because yeah, this thing's been sitting there for years and years, so might take a bit more just to clean out. It's a bit sticky already. Yeah, so the speaker's looking quite good. And then yeah, we just got a bit more here, and then we can switch over to the front. I think the contacts for the battery looks quite okay, so I'm not gonna use white vinegar on it, because there's really no need to. Just clean the speakers back a bit. Okay, so that part looks okay. Okay, the power button up here, the switch here, yeah, so we just need to add a few drops of alcohol inside, so just to clean up any of the corrosion or dust build up inside there, and then we just move it back and forth. And then both the contrast wheel and the volume button will do the same thing. Just drop some alcohol inside there. Okay. It's already feeling a lot smoother to move. Okay, so now the front. Okay, so on the speakers, there's usually like a piece of plastic that's here. See the piece of plastic? So this is the part that vibrates and amplifies the sound. So just make sure you give that a good clean. So if there's dust there, it dampens the sound a bit. And the stickiness is almost gone. So now we're gonna use a fresh cotton bud, and then we're just gonna scrub down the contacts here. Okay, and then don't forget the start and select button pads. Okay, it looks good. Okay, so this is for the headphone jack. So I'm just gonna drop some alcohol in there just to clean it up a bit. I don't usually use the AC adapter, so if you want to clean it, just clean it. But I think they have a connector to USB now, so you can just run it off your laptop or some power brick that you have just to power the Game Boy. Yeah, so all the connections look quite good. Okay, so if you see this row of soldered connections, this actually is for the cartridge slot. Oh yeah, so I think I better get some alcohol in there also. So these connections, because I'm gonna install a third-party screen in this from Handheld Legend, so it's still on the way here. So what I'll do is I'll trim down these pins so that it doesn't short or it doesn't come into contact with the metal back of the screen. So there's a sticker that comes along with the screen that will cover this area up, but it'll be better if you just trim it down. There's no harm trimming this down because all the connections are still there. It's just that the points are a bit raised, more raised than it needs to be. So yeah, it's a good idea to just trim it down. So what I use is this pair of snips, yeah, electrical snips. So I think they use this for model making, for gunpla, and yeah. So just watch where these things fly, because yeah, it flies off really easily. So best thing to do is put on a pair of safety goggles or something if you want, but yeah, we're just gonna wing it. So just trim all these down. You don't need to cut too much into the board because you might spoil the pads here, the tracers here. So just enough to shorten the legs that are protruding. It's a bit more here. Okay, so nice and trim. The board should be ready to receive a new screen, and we'll start to put everything back together.